Production funding for Ruckus has been provided by Fred and Lou Hartwig and viewers like you. Thank you.
Good evening. Welcome to Ruckus, our weekly food for thought fight over the news of the day and the trends of the times. I'm Mike Shannon. The Ruckettes join me shortly. Our topics this week: taxes go up in Kansas, jobs seem to be going elsewhere, and Hillary and Jeb go for the big job, plus roast and toast. But we start with our Newsmaker segment. Citizens for Responsible Government is a local organization that has generated attention in recent years for its strong positions regarding Kansas City International Airport and streetcar lines in Kansas City, Missouri. Now the group is focusing on plans for a new downtown convention hotel, partially financed with public dollars. The battle cry: the new Hyatt, don't buy it. And joining us is the founder of Citizens for Responsible Government, Dan Coffey. Dan, welcome to Ruckus. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Mike. Glad to be here.
All right, I'll buy. The new Hyatt, don't buy it. Why not?
Well, in our opinion, there's just a lot of unanswered questions. Whenever the city decides to spend taxpayers' money, that's our focus, is we want to hold our government officials accountable for how they spend our money and how they run the city. And in this situation, we're a little bit concerned about if this is such a good deal for everybody, and they do have a few investors supposedly, which I don't know that I've seen the names of who these people are, why don't they have more investors? If it's such a good deal, you'd think people would be lining up to get in on the investment. But that doesn't appear to be happening, so they come to the city and want the city to pick up more than 50% of the costs of the new hotel. And that raises a big flag in our mind as to why is this? Why aren't people lining up to get in on such a good deal? And why should they be spending the city dollars to finance it?
Well, what about this? Do you think Kansas City needs a new downtown convention hotel, something of 800 rooms or above?
We're not against a new downtown convention hotel. We think it'd be a good deal probably for Kansas City. The people I've talked to said that this 800-room hotel won't move the bar a blip. I mean, it's not what we need if we really want to get into the convention business. We need something much more substantial than this. And our concern is the taxpayers' part of financing it. You know, we don't think that's such a good deal.
Well, it looks like this mayor and this council are committed to putting this new hotel into existence before their terms end at the 1st of August. Is there anything you or your group is going to try to do to stop that?
Well, let me touch base a minute on the speed with which they're trying to move this thing. That scares us. Why all of a sudden, if they've been working on this project for 2 years or 3 years, all of a sudden now we have to wrap it up in 2 months? You know, that concerns us a little bit. We know that probably with a new council in there, they're going to be much more inquisitive and ask a lot more questions than the outgoing council members will. So that's probably the reason for the speed.
But is there anything you or your group can do to delay the process?
Yes, there is.
And that would be a petition?
Yes.
Are you about to begin an initiative petition campaign?
Yes. Yes, we are.
We'll talk about what it will say.
Okay. Would you like to see it?
Well, if it's not awkward for you to grab it out of your briefcase, I'd be glad to look at it. Can you just tell us, though, while you're looking
I just got it last night, finalized, and what it will say is basically the top paragraph of page 2 pretty much summarizes what the purpose of the petition is.
Push that over here, and maybe I can read from it a little bit. Developing, financing, constructing, and operating downtown convention center headquarter hotels to require voter authorization. Oh, essentially, that's it. You want voters to say, yes, go ahead with this project.
We don't like the way it's going, and we think that being the case, that perhaps the voters should be able to get involved in this thing and have a say as to whether or not it
How
goes
many
to fruition or not.
signatures do you think you're going to need for
We
this?
will need, based on the last mayoral election, we'll need about 3,700, probably 3,500, which is the same thing we had to get for the airport initiative petition.
How soon do you expect to get this done?
The sooner the better. Now, if it goes, and it probably will go, past next Tuesday, and there's not a lot of votes for mayor, and really, when you stop and think about it, there's no reason to vote for a mayor in Kansas City because it's pretty obvious who's going to win that battle. That lowers the threshold because it's 5% of the votes for the mayor race. So if people don't vote for mayor but vote for everybody else they want to vote for, that will make our threshold a lot lower than the number of signatures we get.
So just to wrap it up, Citizens for Responsible Government are going to start an initiative petition campaign to put the question of approving a downtown convention hotel on the Kansas City ballot.
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
that's an interesting revelation. We appreciate you sharing it with us. Hope you'll
that's
come
all
back and give us more details as the situation progresses.
We'd like to do that.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. Pleasure to have you in the studio.
Thank you, Mike.
That is Dan Coffey with Citizens for Responsible Government. Now let's meet the panel and see if we can start a ruckus. Terry Riley is a former Kansas City, Missouri councilman and is now with Transformation Consultants. Gwen Grant is president and CEO of the Kansas City Urban League. Mary O'Halloran is a media and communications consultant. And Darla J. hosts a radio program Monday through Friday mornings from 5 to 9 on Talk 980 AM. After a record-setting 113-day session, the Kansas legislature adjourned following what many consider to be a debacle. Facing a $400 million deficit and a legal requirement to balance the budget, the Republican-led House and Senate finally reached accord and avoided massive cuts to the state's budget. As a result, the state's sales tax will rise to 6.5%, cigarette taxes will jump by 50 cents a pack, and the Kansas City Star will be deprived of its daily editorial topic. One might assume that after such a disappointing session, even a state as historically Republican as Kansas might turn over control to the Democrats the next time voters get a chance in 2016. But the Star's political columnist Steve Kraske says no way. Voters have very short memories. You think Steve's right, Mary?
Oh, I think, yes, I do think voters have short memories. However, that's a very superficial way to discuss the radical nature of what has just taken place in the state of Kansas. There's nothing conservative about the governor's actions along with his followers in the legislature. They have inaugurated now the Republican era of tax and spend.
Well, do you think it's going to cause voters to say, we reject this,
well, yes.
now we're going to turn to the Democrats?
The definition of the word revolution is major structural change in a government in a short period of time. And of course, that's not going to happen. But what I think will happen will be an increasing wave of discontent as people understand what happened, as they understand the nature of the food tax increase. And now Kansas being the highest, we'll tax food at the highest rate of any state in the nation. And I'll tell you what, people on the border of our state, Colorado has no tax on food. Nebraska has no tax. Iowa has no tax.
How about Missouri?
And Missouri has kind of a 1 point something depending on where you are. So hundreds of dollars in savings await people who shop on the other side of the state line in many, I don't know what.
Let me get some other opinions here on what Mr. Kraske has to say. Darla, do you think voters have short memories and won't remember this come 2016?
I think voters have short memories. I think that you know, the Democratic Party has complained so much about Kansas, and I'm not going to say I'm excited about what happened, but as far as it being tax and spend, the food tax is back up to where it was when Kathleen Sebelius was the governor. So they lowered the food tax from what it was, and it was 6.5%. So it's back up to where it was. Not that I like it, and I don't think that's the best way to go, but there was this hole in the budget, and let's face it, the governor made a mistake on some of his ideas, I do believe. You got to fix it. You have to fix it, but you know.
You heard his defense. Brownback says you save so much on income tax cuts that makes up for whatever more you'll spend for sales tax increases.
It just doesn't hold up. I mean, they looked at this very closely, and the analysts continue to be right, and Brownback continues to be wrong. This is really bad fiscal policy for the state. But I do agree with Steve. You know, voters typically have short memories and oftentimes don't vote in their own best interest. It was really odd to me in the election going into it. We knew that this financial strategy of buybacks was a disaster, and they voted, you know, to reelect him. So
needed a better candidate
than everybody thought would be. However, Gwen, I think that what you're going to find with voters is that as they figure out what happened, and it's hard to figure out what happened because there's so little media discussing. We hear it all and we pay attention to all of it.
There's a lot of media discussion, and it's all negative toward Brownback and the Republicans.
What's really gone on, that people have lost half of their interest rate deduction on their homes. They can't deduct their property taxes from their taxes anymore, and a whole list of other goodies.
And 300,000 people don't have to pay income tax as a result of this legislation.
Well, most of them didn't pay income tax at all.
Let me turn to Terry here for a moment. What does this do to Sam Brownback and any future he might hope for as a politician?
I believe his career is done. Brownback, this was a model that was put together by the Koch brothers in Kansas. They tried to use this model, and I understand what Darla's saying over there as she grimaces a little bit, and she's my friend. But the problem was it was the sales tax on the food was not the same as it was in Colorado, Iowa, and other places, but they did a laundry list of things. And an analyst a long time ago, as Gwen stated, they had said that this model will not work, and it has been an economic disaster for the state of Kansas. They wanted to use this model all over the country, but now everyone sees if you use this model, it's a roadmap to economic disaster.
Is that true, Darla? Haven't we seen something akin to this model at the national level that has worked with Ronald Reagan?
I was saying, it worked with Ronald Reagan.
John Kennedy said lower taxes, everybody will benefit.
Let's talk about Texas. Let's talk about Wisconsin. Let's talk about North Carolina.
For everybody, not just the wealthy.
We're going to have to wrap it up. May I suggest you will not notice this tax change at all if you don't smoke and don't buy anything in Kansas.
Oh, that's absurd. That's just absurd.
Well, they can always.
That was a joke, Mary. That was a joke.
Oh, I see.
You might think with all the recent talk about the economic development battle between Missouri and Kansas, especially in greater Kansas City, the area would be abundantly filled with jobs. But the Star's Yale Abahaka says the region trails most of its peers in the crucial business of adding jobs, citing government studies comparing Kansas City with 24 other regions. Of the 24, Kansas City ranks 17th in employment growth during the past year, 19th in 3, 5, and 10-year periods. The Star columnist also quotes a recent Chamber of Commerce report saying the region is far below national and regional peer regions in venture capital investment. So what's going on and what should be going on to jumpstart local job growth, Terry?
Okay, just real quick, there's a proven model of when you invest in your sewers, your roads, and your infrastructure, it will bring in economic development. You look at the Portland model. You look at what's happened in Philadelphia. You take a look at what's happened in Wisconsin and also Minnesota with the governor there. He put his money where his mouth was. And I think that's the sleeper of the entire presidential campaign if he got into it, but that's just a little plug. He invested in public infrastructure and education, and he has turned around the entire state. If Kansas City does it here, now look, we are supposed to put $30 million a year into our roads. Kansas City consistently has invested $9 million one year, $12 million the next. If you do that, if you invest in your roads, your streets, your bridges, it will turn the economy around.
But drive to what? I mean, drive to. Are there going to be tons of new jobs because the sewers are fixed, the roads are fixed?
I'm talking about
agree
your
with you.
overall public infrastructure. People are more apt to invest. They're more apt to invest. Now, this is the real trickle down economics. Now, I wanted to trickle a little bit of money on people because, you know, the Republicans in Kansas keep it all. But the fact of the matter is, if you invest in your public infrastructure, it's a proven and researched fact that will change the local economy because you have engineers that are working, construction companies, you have your laborers, you have your secretaries.
But is it good for the children? Because that's what Kansas City always goes towards.
What should be included in that is what's good for the children in education.
Gwen, what about this? Gwen, what about this downtown convention hotel that's being talked about? Would that be a job producer for Kansas City, at least temporarily?
Well, you know, if they bring in if it results in increasing convention business, yes, it would increase the, you know, have a positive impact on the economy and increase jobs.
In conjunction with that, let me ask you about Dan Coffey, who was our guest on this segment of the program, where he talked about the fact that Citizens for Responsible Government is going to begin an initiative petition campaign to put the downtown convention hotel question to voters. I should note that this program was taped a day earlier than usual, and that was the first time he made the announcement. By now it won't be a secret, but what do you think about that? Do you think it's going to be helpful or harmful?
Well, I think the City Council would be very concerned about it because it will certainly put some, you know, brakes on their process perhaps, and so they would be concerned. I think for people to slow it down may not be a bad idea. I think, you know, I agree with Dan in that we're rushing to closure on this, and when we've had historically our experience with public investment, even though they say it's minimal, we are investing tax increment, TIF dollars, super TIF into this, so it does have an impact on the public. So I think we need to really take our time and be sure that the economic impact is going to be what they project it to be.
Mary,
and it, you know, wouldn't hurt to just, you know, slow it down just a little bit.
Mary, we hear
permanently.
of $1 billion of investment in downtown Kansas City, Missouri, and there's a lot of development there. The streetcar line, businesses are being announced regularly, apartment buildings being constructed. Right. Why don't we see more jobs downtown?
Well, how many jobs have we created downtown?
Not enough.
Not enough.
Well,
obviously, but Crosby Kemper cites statistics where employment downtown has dropped during the past several years.
Well, I mean, you went through a total transformation. Downtown was a pit. Nobody was moving there. Everybody could was moving out. Businesses were going to College Road out in College Boulevard in Johnson County. And what's happened is this renaissance that's taken time, and it takes effort, and we have thousands of people moving back to the inner, you know, the core of the city. And the River Market, and pieces of it are so exciting right now. I mean, doesn't it just feel like it's alive with potential and excitement? I was down there Saturday night and having a good time. I had a really good time. But I don't see, the economic problem that scares me about the metro area is our continued reliance on huge investment of public money and TIF money for one thing, and the gold bond, whatever it is over in Kansas, are just dangerous as all get out. We're running out of it.
The Chamber of Commerce is trying to make Kansas City the entrepreneurial capital of the country, and has had some success thus far. What about Cerner and companies such as that? They're adding jobs on both sides of the state line.
Well, they are, but they're not. Cerner's not adding them downtown. I mean, we've put all this money, and I can't believe that I somewhat agree with you, Mary.
There you go.
Well, it's time to wrap this up.
Yeah, no kidding. No, about the TIFs and the super TIFs.
Yeah.
$110 million a year is what all those TIFs are worth. And as far as the e-tax is concerned, we only bring in $180 million. Just think if
and that'll be on the ballot next year. The earnings tax in Kansas City. Yeah, absolutely.
Now going back into economic, talking about economic development, the disinvestment on the east side has been the issue also. Dealing with the east side, bus rapid transit, at least on the Prospect Corridor, which has been promised for years. But look at the overall, from a transit standpoint, the Congress just approved $2.3 billion to invest in transit. Over in China, $213 billion. You must invest if you want to see economic development.
And I must go to the next topic or we'll never get it done. The two so-called dynasty candidates got the bulk of news coverage this past week in the race for the White House. Of course, we're talking about the former First Lady, Hillary Clinton, who wants to be the First Lady to serve as president, and Jeb Bush, a former Florida governor, who hopes to join his father and brother in that small group of men who have served as the nation's chief executive. Hillary staged her first campaign rally last weekend in New York and talked about her personal knowledge of the job.
I know how hard this job is. I've seen it up close and personal. All our presidents come into office looking so vigorous, and then we watch their hair grow grayer and grayer. Well, I may not be the youngest candidate in this race, but I will be the youngest woman president in the history of the United States.
She also says you won't see her hair turn white in the White House because she's been coloring it for years. So, Darla J, are you ready for Hillary?
You know, I was astonished by that speech on Saturday, and for many reasons. First of all, Hillary Clinton has been running for president for the last, 10 years? She pretty much turned almost everything that she said she believed before on its head. She voted for trade 47 times while she was in the Senate. And now she says, oh, this trade bill is terrible, we need to get rid of that. And she has moved way to the left on issues where I don't know if that's really what she thinks, because I find it hard to believe her, because she doesn't seem to tell the truth very often.
I know.
But what was really
What about
weird,
emails?
Yeah.
Speaking of telling the truth,
30,000 personal emails between my husband and I, and he's only sent 2 in his entire lifetime. Probably one to Monica and one to some other woman.
And soon you can read them all.
Terry, no, you can't read them all. They've been deleted. They've been destroyed.
30,000.
Terry, Hillary Clinton served as Secretary of State for President Obama for the first term, 4 years. And in her speech last Sunday or Saturday, she spent about 3% of the time talking about foreign policy. Do you find that strange that she didn't talk more about achievements as Secretary of State?
I think the proof is in the pudding. What she's been able to do.
What did it prove?
As the secretary. She has a record. None of the other candidates running, especially Jeb Bush, can even begin to talk about foreign policy with what his brother did. I mean, his brother has us in the predicament we're in right now in Afghanistan and over in Iraq.
Did Hillary vote to approve what happened in Afghanistan and Iraq?
Absolutely. Yeah, you know why she did? Based off the artificial data.
Well,
that
it was the same data that
George
Bush saw.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Terry, what nobody has is the lifelong record that she has, and to you know, every time a woman runs for high office, or has in the last 40 years, really a new level. We keep moving up. It's the state legislature, and then mayors, and then Congress people, and so on. There are all kinds of people that want to say, well, she's not qualified and doesn't have the personal characteristics.
Mary, what did
and
she
doesn't
do?
have the experience. Let me just say, you know, don't forget the 2 terms as senator from New York. If you want to understand.
Well, she was just citing those in
yes,
the
I
time she voted
understand.
for trade.
But that's extraordinarily important that she has major congressional experience. Plus, if you had 20 years as first lady of something, trust me, you know how
Tell
it
me
works.
one thing that she did while she was Secretary of State.
She became a real expert on military policy and was trusted as someone who could really understand
I think the question that has been asked of
her
her supporters that they can't answer is, what was her biggest achievement, or name one achievement as Secretary of State, and like 10 or 12 people.
I think it's clear what it was.
I think it's fair to say that a Secretary of State doesn't make foreign policy. A president makes foreign policy, and she may have thought differently about some of the things that took place.
She carried the banner of this country all over the world at a time when we had the lowest approval ratings of American life and government all over the world, and helped move it in a
And sadly, they're the
direction.
same way still.
Exactly.
And now
it's not exactly
it's not exactly the same.
No,
I think it is. Now we turn to Roast and Toast, where the Ruckettes say yay or nay to people and events in the news, and we start with Mary.
Well, he has so richly earned another roast, the governor of the state of Kansas, blaming his his scary policies that are now just being understood on the Democrats. The Democrats, who have very few legislators in the Kansas legislature, and they had one message to him. He said they offered no solutions. Turn around the policies that you created. Turn around the tax cuts. Turn around the cuts to businesses that just skyrocketed and bared the Treasury. And to blame the Democrats for his troubles is sad.
All right, Terry.
Okay, my roast was going to be of someone else, but I'm going to roast Bush 3, which is Jeb Bush. Jeb Bush is not the best candidate in the Republican field, for one. Number two, he switched his policy views 3 times in 1 week as relates to the war in Iraq. So therefore, he's indecisive, and he deserves to be roasted for that.
Who is the best candidate in the Republican race?
I can't find one.
Okay, Darla.
I would like to toast Donald Trump.
Why did I know that was coming?
And here's why.
How would we know that?
That was the most entertaining presidential announcement speech I have ever heard in my entire life. I watched it with eyes wide and my mouth hanging open, probably with drool coming down. He was extremely entertaining. He got the people fired up. And look at the publicity yesterday because of that speech. Jeb who?
And Gwen?
I'm roasting Rachel Dolezal for masquerading as an African-American female while serving as the president of the Spokane NAACP. While her works as the leader of that organization were laudable, she has totally diminished that process with a string of lies and a refusal to even acknowledge or apologize for this unconscionable behavior.
And finally, a toast to the informed respondents of a recent survey that showed former President George W. Bush more popular than his successor, Barack Obama. One reason might be Bush's self-deprecating sense of humor on display at this recent graduation speech.
Those of you who are graduating this afternoon with high honors, awards, and distinctions, I say well done. And as I like to tell the C students, you too can be president.
Or a TV talk show host. And that is Ruckus for this week. We're back next Thursday evening at 7. Now, on behalf of the Ruckettes and the crew, I'm Mike Shannon saying thanks for watching and good night.